Okay. So, before we start on this week's suffixes, last week, remember, we did ology and ants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what that meant? If I said biology, and you knew that bio meant life.
It's the life of somebody.
The life of somebody, close, that's biography. Ology, remember, is the study of.
Study.
So biology would be what?
It's the study of.
And bio means life, so the study of life. That's why biology classes, plants and animals, study of life, humans even. And the other one was ins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like experience, and that just meant the state, or experience, the state of. So experience being the state of doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
This week, we're doing terms. I've and or, okay? And for I've and or, these two, you're going to recognize a lot of these words. For example, governor.
Government.
Government, yeah. So it means, well, who's the governor? But what does it refer to? Does it refer to?
Like people.
Yeah, people. The governor. So if you look at the OR, look here. What does it say?
Something or someone.
Yeah, someone or something. So the OR refers to a person. So if we look at the word bank here, I say conduct, and I put an OR at the end and say conductor. Well, conduct means to be in charge of something.
Mm-hmm.
The conductor is the person who is in
charge.
Yeah, person who's in charge. So my sentence could be, the conductor led the band during the song. For the other one, I've, it says, meaning doing or tend to.
I tend to go to the football game.
Alright? But add it with act. What is act?
Active.
Yeah, active.
Like you're active playing.
Mm-hmm. So explain active with tend to or doing. Active simply means you do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a sentence could be, what?
I'm active by playing football.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And that's, see how the meaning of doing. So look at the word bank here. I'm thinking you add in I've or to this to make another word.
Professor.
Professor. So
I'm a professor at college.
Yeah, perfect. And the professor refers to who? The person, right? The teacher. And do two others, 4 and 5.
Constant C. O.
Mm-hmm.
G.
Mm-hmm.
Creative. I'm creative with my art.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm very creative.
So, for the sentences we wrote, I'm a professor at college. Professor, think back to the OR.
It's
The
a
OR,
person
yeah.
that's conducting something.
Mm-hmm. So the same thing, the conductor is the person leading, the professor is the person teaching the class.
Creative is doing something and being active.
Mm-hmm. Doing something. And it doesn't have to, these were just examples. The
Mhm.
active and conductive, these are just examples, so it doesn't, we don't have to use those. But what they mean is right below a person and then the doing.
And an actor is like the person and doing, and they're still active too. So it's like,
Yeah. Well, so look at this. For one of the sentences we wrote active, and for the other one we wrote actor. And so, if you're gonna see, look, what's the root of that, both of them? The root, or what was in the word bank here?
ACT.
Yeah, ACT. And so, for both of those, you could put active, and it means if you're active, you're doing something, right?
Mhm.
You're participating. Or if you're actor, it refers to what? The person. But you're still, doing something. It still has that same root word of act, of being in front of people, right? You know how to act. Okay? Alright, very good. Alright,
Thank you.
so remember, we are coming up, we've talked already about Trump and Clinton, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about why we vote on Tuesday. But today, remember, have you ever watched the news?
Not really.
No. But have you listened to the radio? And the people that are talking in between?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes they just talk off the cuff, but sometimes they actually have to read
The news.
read the news. But we're just going to read it, and that's what I want you to pretend like you're reading, okay? So before, I want you to just read that first paragraph silently to yourself. And then after we read it silently, we're going to, so we're going to read it again,
Okay.
okay? Go ahead. Okay, so now I want you to read out loud to me. I'm gonna help you if you have a word or that, or we're gonna read it once kind of together, but I want you to read it.
Okay. Every day, why elections are held on Tuesdays. Every wonder.
Okay, so slow down. Ever
wonder why elections are held on Tuesday? The answer lies with America's 19th century farmers. Americans first began with custom of weekday voting in 1845 with Congress. With Congress passed it a federal law designating the first Tuesday following the first Monday in November as election day. Before then, states were allowed to hold elections anytime they pleased within a 34-day period before the first Wednesday in December, but this system had a few
Almost it's a soft
crucial flaws. Knowing the early vote results could affect turnout and sway opinion in states that held late elections. Though some last-minute voters could potentially decide the outcome of the entire election. Faced with these issues, Congress created the current election day in the hope of streamlining the vote's progress.
Streamlining. Okay, what I love is that you're looking up, right? As if you're projecting your voice a lot louder, and you pause at all the punctuation of what we've been working on. Okay, I'm going to trade papers with you.
Okay.
The things I've underlined are things that we need to work on. Tuesdays. Yep, just the yes. And here, what's that word?
When.
Yeah, but again, when it's jumbled up, you said with. So you said weekday voting in 1845, when Congress passed, we'll say that, when Congress passed a federal law designating, get the G, designating. And then all the way to crucial, knowing the early voting results. Yeah, most of these you know just when we get nervous and reading the whole bit, right? Yeah. So knowing the early and sway. So go back and forth, sway opinion, and then same, and then potentially. And we are done with the streamlining. Okay, we're going to do a little something a little bit different this time. Yes, I know we got one camera going, but I'm going to record you reading. It's just going to be voice, okay?
Okay.
And then afterwards, you're going to listen to yourself read, and we're going to write down some suggestions of what you think that we could improve on. Okay? So again, same thing. You're reading the news, practicing reading the news. You're informing people about why we vote on Tuesday in November.
Ever wonder why elections are held on Tuesdays? The answer lies with America's 19th century farmers. Americans began the custom of weekday voting in 1845 when Congress passed a federal law designating the first Tuesday falling the first Monday in November as election day. Before then, states were allowed to hold elections anytime they pleased within a 30-day period before the first Wednesday in December. But this system had a few crucial flaws. Knowing the early voting results could affect turnout and sway opinion in states that held late elections, and those same last-minute voters could potentially decide the outcome of the entire election. Faced it with these issues, Congress created the current election day in the hope of streamlining the voting process.
Good. All right, now we're going to listen to yourself, and you can have your pen and your highlighter, and I want you to follow along as you read and see, okay, there are parts that I did good. Like there's already a couple things that you have really good expression, and this sounds like a question. You're pausing in 1845 when Congress, and you're making, so your phrases make sense.
Okay. I think I could have done better by slowing it down.
By slowing down? Okay, well, let's listen.
elections are held on Tuesdays. The answer lies with America's 19th century farmers. Americans began the custom of weekday voting in 1845 when Congress passed a federal law designating the first Tuesday falling the first Monday in November as election day. Before then, states were allowed to hold elections anytime they pleased within a 30-day period before the first Wednesday in December. But this system had a few crucial flaws. Knowing the early voting results could affect turnout and sway opinion in states that held late elections. In those same last minute, voters could potentially decide the outcome of the entire election. Faced it with these issues, Congress created the Christ election day in the hope of streamlining the voting process.
Okay, so what else out there? Now you highlighted some things that you're already finding, and also you see that sometimes you're highlighting the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I underlined the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but others, it's totally new. So what do you think that is?
The being fine, because I got more nervous.
Yeah, nervous. I mean, the more times that you read, the more times you're familiar with it,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be easier to get.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to take a pause for a moment. I know we've been working on how to sound good, but now we're going to work on our comprehension. Okay. And last week we talked about main idea and detail, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to talk about today is same thing, main idea and detail, but the only difference is we're going to talk about ways to organize our thoughts. So, for example, if you were reading something like that book that I gave you last week, or that you checked out last week, and you're trying to find, okay, here's the main idea and detail. Think of the ways. Remember what we did last week?
The gist.
Well, no, it wasn't the gist, where it had a big circle, and then three things underneath.
Oh, like the
That looked like, I don't have it.
I know what you're talking about. It's the one with the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. And that one already had a graphic organizer for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was simple. It was just
Big circle and 3.
and then 3 supporting details, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the goal of this is not for you to be able to make, the graphic organizer looks like this. The goal is to get you to think through how is it best for Javier to do that. When I'm reading my social studies book, when I'm reading my science, when I'm reading a book for pleasure, how can I think in my mind to get, okay, there's one big idea here, and then there's other things that support it. So, it could look like this. What else could it look like, do you think?
It could have been more like a little web, like the main idea and all the other, like more of the circles.
Draw.
Like you got the big main idea,
Mm-hmm.
you got the other ones that support it.
Oh, and then the smaller ones, yeah. That would be one. So
Like eventually all connect.
And that would be with a pretty, maybe that would be for the whole passage, right?
Yeah, for the whole.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to be focusing today on realizing that it's just paragraph.
Paragraph.
Yeah, paragraph. We talked about. And kind of like when we did, when you checked out that card book, remember? We talked about, okay, if we're writing a summary, each paragraph has one main idea. And to incorporate all 3 of those. What else could it look like? It could,
or you could have you got like this. It's kind of like this, it's kind of like this. You put the main idea here, and then the details. You do that.
And it's just summary. And you have to think how best it helps you. For example, me, I'm not much one for drawing that, and so if I had a piece of paper I was taking notes with, something like that, I might simply label it, and then underneath, it'd be the,
Just
supporting,
bring it
yeah,
to sports.
yeah, the supporting details. But everyone is different.
Mhm.
And again, the key is not to, so you can make this perfect, but it's to remind yourself, each paragraph has one big thing that they're trying to tell you, and then there's 3 things to support it. Okay?
Mhm.
All right, so now let's actually, I want you to read it good. And think here. We've read this a couple times, right?
Mhm.
We're learning about Congress and why they picked Tuesday, and it's based on how they picked that Tuesday. Now let's go on to the second paragraph. Okay? I'll read the first half of the paragraph, then you can read the second half.
So you read these, we're going to read this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But why a Tuesday in November? The answer stems from the agrarian makeup of 19th century America. In the 1800s, most citizens worked as farmers and lived far from their polling place. Since people often traveled at least a day to vote, lawmakers needed to allow a 2-day window for election day. Weekends were impractical, since most people spent Sundays in church and Wednesday was market day for farmers. With this in mind, Tuesday was selected
As the first and most convicted day of the week to hold elections. Farmers' culture also explains why election day always falls in November. Spring and early summer elections were through to influence with the mating season, and late summer and early fall elections overlapped it with the harvest. That left the late full moon on November, after harvest was complete, but before the arrival of harsh winter weather as the best choice.
So that first sentence gives us a clue. Read that first sentence.
But it's why Tuesday, November.
So that gives us an understanding of what the whole paragraph's going to be about. And the whole paragraph's about what?
God talks about the weather. And that whole they'll be at church. And they're going to be they need a 2-day window.
You know, but so why do they need a 2-day window? And they're talking about church and they're talking about the seasons, all for the reason of what? Because those are all the details that turn back to read that first sentence again.
But why Tuesday, November?
So what's this whole paragraph explaining to us?
Why? How can I put it?
Why what? Who got to choose this?
The farmers.
The farmers got to choose this? They set the laws?
Wait, no. The lawmakers.
Yeah, lawmakers. So lawmakers are picking. What are they picking?
Tuesday in November.
Yeah, for what do we do on this Tuesday in November?
Election.
Yeah, the election. So, and again, asking ourselves, is that what the whole paragraph's about? The whole paragraph's about how the lawmakers are choosing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if we're going to do a graphic organizer to remind ourselves of the main idea, what graphic organizer do you want to do? Good. I like that you're highlighting lawmakers and what they're doing. You're going to do the web, you're going to do the star, you're going to do the T-chart kind of like you put together.
We could do the bubble.
The bubble?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I need a 2-day window for election day.
So,
Because that's going to be important, because usually it takes them a full day just to get there. And plus, you need to go to the farm, to the market to get food.
all right. So do you think that should be included in our main idea about the 2-day window?
Yes.
So think, anytime you choose something for your main idea, you have to ask yourself, is that what the whole paragraph's about? Is the whole paragraph about the 2-day window?
Yeah. Because it tells you weekends are practical since most people spend Sundays in church and Wednesdays was market day for the farmers.
Well, yeah, you're right, the one sentence after it, it does talk about the 2-day window.
Yeah.
But what about the last 2 or 3 sentences, where it says, farm culture also explains, talking about when they're planting, the planting season, and
So let's talk about spring and early summer.
yeah, would that be a good time for elections?
Yes.
It would be?
Yeah.
So why is it in November, if spring and early summer is good? Read that sentence again.
Farmers' culture always explains why election days, it says falls
In what?
in November.
Why? Why does it fall in November?
Spring and early summer elections were thought and interfere with the planting season.
So, can it be in spring or early summer?
No,
Why?
because it's going to interrupt with their planting season.
Yeah, because if it's just like what you said, if it's a 2-day window, well, they're not going to be able to plant
Or anything.
their crops. Yeah, yeah. So think, keep going. So if we were to put, I agree about the 2-day window and with the lawmakers. So if our main idea was lawmakers,
You needed to borrow a 2-day
yeah, needed
window
a 2-day window.
for elections on Tuesday.
For election day.
For election day.
For election day.
What'd you say?
Because what? Lawmakers needed a 2-day window
for election day.
for election day. And when did they put, when was it, and when? We already highlighted it.
November.
Yeah, in November. Okay, so now let's think. This is our main idea. Lawmakers needed a 2-day window for election day in November. That's what this whole paragraph is talking about. What would be one detail that would support that? What are some of the things that you found?
We put this because if they do it between spring and early summer, it's gonna fall like what they say right here, and it's gonna be in November.
Is November in spring or early summer?
No.
No. So, read it again. It says, farm culture also explains why election day always falls in November. So the next sentence, now here's the reason why it's in November, and it's not in spring and early summer.
Yeah.
Because why? What's in spring and early summer?
Late summer and early fall elections overlapped with the harvest.
Well, read that again.
Spring and early summer
Keep going.
elections were thought to interfere with the planting season.
So why are they in November and not in the spring and early summer?
Because the planting season.
Yeah. So does that explain why it's in November?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be a supporting detail.
Sorry, no?
And then I want you to write down 2 other ones.
Can I feel like they were at church and they were at church?
You can, if it supports this. How can you relate it back to the main idea? How does that support or reason that explains that lawmakers needed a 2-day window for election day in November?
And
Why did they mention church?
because that's like 2 days before the election. Well, no, that was 1 day before the election. Since Sundays.
Read that again. From here.
Since people often travel at least a day to vote, lawmakers need allow a 2-day window for election day. Weekends were impractical since most people spend Sundays in church and Wednesdays was market day for farmers.
So why did they mention church?
Because that was the day before. That's the day before the election day.
Sunday is right before Tuesday?
No, it's after.
Mm.
So all of a sudden they got Monday and Tuesday to get there.
Mm.
And then Wednesday is when they return and go to the market.
What does this mean? Weekends? Say, weekends were impractical. Is Tuesday on a weekend?
Yeah. Weekend. Oh no.
What's today?
Today's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Are we on the weekend?
No.
What days is the weekend?
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. So is Tuesday the weekend?
No.
No, so it says weekend, Saturday and Sunday were impractical. If something's practical, it means, oh yeah, we should do it. It's practical, we can do that. If it's impractical,
Nothing can't happen.
yeah, so why can't weekends happen for election day?
Because it's church.
So that's why they mentioned church, right?
Uh-huh.
So, would that be a reason, the church, would that be a reason why lawmakers needed a 2-day window for election day in November?
Yes.
It'd be a reason why they picked a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So maybe after we've reread it, we need to adjust what we've already written down for our main idea. How can we incorporate Tuesday into our main idea? Think, lawmakers needed a 2-day window for election day in November.
Because Saturday is church day. I mean, not Saturday, Sunday.
We're in, right, so that's something in detail, but how can we include Tuesday in our main idea?
Because
Lawmakers needed a 2-day window for an election day in November. Maybe so they chose what?
Tuesday.
Yeah. Any Tuesday? What did I say? Up here.
Tuesday. The first day of Tuesday. First day of November. Tuesday.
The first Tuesday. Now, that thing about church, yeah, it fits perfectly, right?
Yes.
The weekend.
Should I put the weekend? Weekend of Sunday. They spent time at church.
I think we're missing a pretty key part there. Why are we,
Well, I think elections overlap with the harvest.
So that's again the reason why, what, planting season, right?
Uh-huh.
Is November during harvest?
Yes. No.
It is. When is harvest?
Late summer.
Yeah, late summer, right, so that's why November is kind of later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what could our detail be? It's what you just told me, it's what?
It's overlap.
Overlap means it's during the same time. Is November during harvest?
No.
I don't know, well, what does the text say?
Late summer and early fall elections overlap with the harvest. Oh, yes.
Keep going then.
That's left the late fall month of November. After the harvest was complete, but before the arrival of harsh winter weather as the best choice.
So, is November during harvest?
Yes.
It is?
No.